Okay, we are reading now part 6 of The Fixer by Bernard Malmud, and at this point, the Fixer has decided to leave the shtetl and go out to seek his fortune in Kiev. He has the horse from his father-in-law. The nag began to trot, drawing the rickety wagon with its swinging bucket, banging the axle past the cemetery hill, down the winding road. They drove by the poorhouse, a shabby structure with an addition for orphans, which Yaakov averted his eyes from, then clopped across a wooden bridge into the populous section of the town. They passed Shmuel's hut, neither of them looking. A blackened bathhouse, with boarded windows, stood near a narrow stream, and the Fixer felt suddenly itchy for a bath. Thinking of himself in the thick stream, slapping his soaped sides with a twig brush as the attendant poured water on his head. God bless soap and water, Razel used to say. In a few hours, the bathhouse, steaming from its cracks, would be bulging with Jews washing up for Friday night. They rattled along a rutted, dusty street with thatched cottages on one side, open, weedy fields on the other. A big-wigged Jewess, sitting on her doorstep, plucked a bloody-necked hand between her knees as she cursed out a peasant's soul rooting in the remnants of her potato garden. A pool of blood in the ditch marked the passage of the ritual slaughterer. Farther on, a bearded black goat with a twisted horn, tethered to a post, bayed at the horse and charged, but the rope around his neck held, and though the post toppled, the goat was thrown on its back. The doors of some of the cottages hung loose, and where there were steps, they sagged. Fences buckled and were about to collapse without apparent notice or response, irritating the Fixer who liked things in place and functioning. Tonight, the white candles would gleam from the lit windows for everybody else. So he's living on a Friday especially, so this is like an act of rebellion because he's leaving Judaism in that sense, like he's putting behind everything he knows because it's Friday in the shtetl, and at a time when nobody does work, he's going to be going on a voyage which is strictly forbidden by Judaism, where you're supposed to not travel, supposed to stay home, you're supposed to celebrate the Sabbath day, and he's going on a travel. He's leaving behind Judaism. The horse zigzagged towards the marketplace, and now the quality of the house is improved, some large and attractive, with gardens full of flowers in the summertime. Leave it to the lousy rich, the Fixer muttered. Shmuel had nothing to say. His mind, he had often said, had exhausted the subject. He did not envy the rich. All he wanted was to share a little of their wealth, enough to live on while he was working hard to earn a living. The market, a large open square with wooden houses on two sides, some containing first-floor shops, was crowded. First-floor shops was crowded with peasant carts laden with grains, vegetables, wood, hides, and whatnot. On the stalls and bins, mostly women, clustered shopping for the Sabbath. Though the market was his usual hangout, the Fixer waved to no one, and no one waved to him. I leave with no regard, he thought. I should have gone years ago. Who would have told? Samuel asked. Who's there to tell? Practically nobody. It's none of their business anyway. Frankly, my heart is heavy. I'll tell the truth, but I'm sick of this place. He had said goodbye to his two cronies, Labish Polikov and Haskell Dembo. The first had shrugged, the other wordlessly embraced him, and that was that. A butcher holding up by its thick yellow feet a squawking hen, beating its wings, saw the wagon go by and said something witty to his customers. One of these, a young woman who turned to look, called to Yaakov, but by then the wagon was out of the marketplace, scattering some chickens, nesting in the ruts of the road, and a flock of jabbering ducks as it clattered on. They approached the domed synagogue with its iron weathercock, a pock-marked yellow-walled building with an oak door, for the time being resting in peace. It had been sacked more than once. The courtyard was empty except a black-hatted Jew sitting on a bench reading a folded newspaper in the sunlight. Yaakov had rarely been inside the synagogue in recent years. He had easily remembered the long, high-ceilinged room with its brass chandelier, overstained windows, and the prayer stands with stools and wooden candle holders, where he had spent, for the most part, wasted so many hours. Giddy up, he said. At the other side of the town, a shtetl was an island surrounded by Russia. As they came abreast a windmill, its patched fence turning in slow massive motion, the fixer jerked on the reins and the horse clapped to a stop. "Here's where we part," he said to the paddler. Shmuel drew out of his pocket an embroidered cloth bag. "Don't forget these," he said, embarrassed. "I found them in your drawer before we left." In the bag was another containing this is hard to pronounce, philasteries. These is called in Hebrew tefillin, philasteries. These are they're made out of leather. They're how would I call it? Bends. It's like a long strip. Yeah, I would say strip. It's a long strip of leather Jews use to wrap around their arms in prayer. There was also a prayer shawl and a prayer book. Razel, before they were married, had made the bag out of a piece of her dress and embroidered it with the tablets of the 10 Commandments. "Thanks," Yaakov tossed the bag among his other things in the wagon. "Yaakov," said Shmuel passionately, "don't forget your God." "Who forgets who?" the fixer said angrily. "What do I get from him but a bang on the head and a stream of piss in my face? So what's there to be worshipped? What is there to be worshipful about? Don't talk like a meshumed. Meshumed is like from, it means in Yiddish, meshumed is like destroyed. It's Jews that leave God. Stay a Jew, Yaakov. Don't give up our God. A meshumed gives up one God for another. I don't want either. We live in a world where the clock ticks fast while he's on his timeless mountain staring in space. He doesn't see us and he doesn't care. Today I want my piece of bread, not in paradise. Okay, Shoshana is giving us a little bit anger. Listen to me, Yaakov. Take my advice. I've lived longer than you. There's a shul. Shul is a synagogue. There's this shul in Podol in Kiev. Go on Shabbos. You'll feel better. Blessed are they who put their trust in God. Where I ought to go is on the socialist Bund meetings. That's where I should go, not in the shul. But the truth of it is, I dislike politics. Don't ask me why. What good is it if you're not an activist? I guess it's my nature. I incline towards the philosophical, although I don't know much about anything. Be careful, Shmuel said, agitated. We live in the middle of our enemies. The best way to take care is to stay under God's protection. Remember, if He's not perfect, neither are we. So this is another exchange, which is the debate between religious Jews and Jews that left the religion and seeking socialism. and this is a debate still going on today. They embraced quickly, and Shmuel got down from the wagon. "Goodbye, sweetheart," he called to the horse. "Goodbye, Yaakov. I'll think of you when I say the 18 blessings. If you ever see Razel, tell her her father is waiting." Shmuel trudged back towards the synagogue. When he was quite far away, Yaakov felt a pang for having forgotten to slip him a ruble or two. "Get on now." The nag flicked an ear, roused itself for a short trot, then slowed to a tired walk. "It'll be some trip," the fixer thought. The horse stepped abruptly as a field mouse skittered across the road. "Giddy up, God damn it!" But the nag wouldn't move. A peasant passed by with a long-horned bullock, prodding the animal with a stick. "A horse understands a whip," he said. Across the road in Russian, Yaakov belabored the beast with a birch rod until it drew blood. The nag whined but remained tightly immobile on the road. The peasant, after watching a while, moved on. "You son of a bitch," said the fixer to the horse. "We'll never get to Kiev." He was at the point of despair when a brown dog, rustling through the blanket of dead leaves under some trees, came onto the road, yelping at the horse. The nag hurried forward, Yaakov barely grabbing the rein. The dog chased them, barking sharply at the horse's hooves, then at a turn in the road disappeared. But the wagon rolled on, buckets rattling, its wheels wobbling, the nag trotting as fast as it could. It clip-clopped along the hard dirt road, on one side of which flowed a mild stream below a sloping embankment, and on the other were the scattered log huts of a peasant village, their roofs covered with rotting straw. Despite poverty and the antics of too many pigs, the huts looked better than the shtetl cottages. A bearded peasant chopped wood. A woman pumped water from the village well. They both stopped to stare at him.